so braso say no kwasi so media friends of Africa no some for no ma be na ya amikodia me so no try gwam na me di media chia me wo bra executive director the freedom mind movement owo apoku dankwa anafe ye coordinating director owo nkoma Israel omoso abeka me ho na ene bama asama da bama so de bobo ho no yetu media bro na so tumi TV na mesre ye di dwumadi akan sama ho dron ma fa aba so do na so pa do na kade mbaka bia na so ne die mesre ma nda so kokra se obi ba bo pru kra na de ka je zebram sorry za sem ba kokra fa ko ho a wa hwa won tase na be papa asema da ko so ne ba bubu ho na na ewe jare a yesi inledru no so so bi tese na dra by for say antiretroviral drugs no ye be ka ho sam ene HIV is and we can say the Illuminati invented disease. HIV is the Illuminati invented disease and we can have some Jumadi. So, I can say ask Media Training Institute and I Chidom and I do Jumadi everyone. Now, it being also so more programs are already carried in my culture about so YouTube now type Wake Up Africa. Now the active social being Ashe. When you share crown, we are both Wake Up Africa and Papa Shell so power who family and I hope a new family and I said it not just Wake Up Africa and one. You see this so I differ Vassal, differ the origin of the white man, a differ family planning, gem food and fee, a abolition of marriage, the only Eastern fee programs are who don't allow man. We don't be a solar Russia. Bible not your conquerors so it be and now she know who say Jesus Christ and pa now we be believe said the material seem to me Samba then Mrs. Salem Subana Basa said them bring as a sign now Bible so it be a classroom the original African heritage study Bible Sakabia so we are software and asking profit call a years of identity and the pa also I have member the chair one out asori fi no so asacho magen say emosom otweda mpiankopon no kware ne trim wonu no but say kan ba bia wa hwa bia kan ni na no ne ba so so ya so obeti woni no na bia gina bia umpe but what about something kadina for all the origins of the white skinned people and also be our habuku wo bia but we consider the fi trim po awade atibia si gina no was so ibe hi ni na no so de tutu anama e de si ni bi ene ja aba no na bi papa mu no one man tra ho do na omobo baba ano said the women that be an said Debia Mobeshano, we can ban with Chaban Church, said the Mamma. You have numbers ever to get. You can turn back to video beside the no. As I know more cover. Yeah, of what I want to say. I'm going to do it. Now, can you know, why, also, if you last week, you share your neighbor boys, some sort of dear. No man can contact pipe. Now, you say, I'm going to be in America, we need him. I system not to say. So down about so now actually to what you know kakra we also have one more for ya and then tissima na you double yeah akwaba yeah now you to be sure so oh maybe a to now to be sure so now no of the ankon yeah we see me now to be na we dey dan di kusia etifoni atoro di kusia no ko no mi nyai so be jai HIV is the Illuminati invented disease. When say HIV is they say a bad na inshemo and the bakwa gamanu asokye. The man said the media na one or timano ashintino. So we crowd the bleed and I second and I could be a channel so now soon back we see maybe tower. You think maybe. And not the other sorry could do the cat and you should you did the mark who said Illuminati for the inventing. I mean I'm person on dark history no my background history of why HIV is Illuminati invented disease. Oh wow. That's it. Maybe kind of let's chat for grassroots. No man, you know because I'm coming. And I need some inspiration, yeah, sir. Or the other one, you be so far. You are the child. Yeah, HIV AIDS. Yes, sir, you're that's all I can say. I
area efa ekwan bi so oba no de na hie ni na se oba ko bi ana aye ana se eno na bibi do mo ka fa no no esa no cheche na ti asese asase o wo so teach developing world no so resources now or raw materials no as you developed that when the raw material no no say otimi nwa kotikwa mbia obetimi awa ma no sabe kan raw materials sabe ontwa bibi esu gbo bia enti oni abofo asetra no all plan this is reduce the population.
Yes.
And you can be a so can be a almost the boss. The boss, and say, tea and mass. And the family planning over a baby or hand. Over baby to say abortion to know illegal. And as a gun, abortion, there be a knock of legalized it to say, tell me no illegal. Oh, illegal, but I'm only for. I can't say, adolescent reproductive health service. And only the new name for abortion. It's illegal.
Okay, you're friendly to my
legalizing. A man, so as a teenage pregnancy, you know, so Kobasa would not for a folk a crowd, so called a truthful. Because I could be beyond. So what the chain. Ain't a coin be on the first one, and then you him say the population a coffin and manageable on the bay. Ain't you and we will know you are to have your say. Illuminati invented disease. Okay. Diseases must be created. Senya and Toka. And Toka, of course, we are seeing now. Obediently creating. If you say, okay, you be Argentina. Obe creating one na a family was our finance and left to right to outcome of one neighbor. No acquire control and to a boy we are winning now do be a son boy about be there a journey let us watch it and you know we are saying some only crying from A to Z. Last week I can John Rockefeller papa we buy we and so the plan what to run obesity and man so I get it. So it be plan we want to do the bigger players and they make sure say e be real. It is sanity and the idea that she should be at all. Say that the two have more. Let us say population look off from as you can call you say a kind of the demi ya bit me akọ akọ dey say. Na me ka say fit ya say na ba Abrofu na eti ase say 8 if you Africa. I have a theory we buy green monkey theory. The green monkey theory we buy 3 different versions. Okay. You say obi and green monkey be infected with AIDS. And they say now AIDS that's one theory. Another theory also say green monkey or 8 and obi any sexual relationship and it is a lab oh there's a that's my number one. I tell you so obi and green monkey is your car. I said, we will have the agreement. I will be much back over the story. I said, yeah, now, if you starting, sir, green monkey theory, we from Dr. Robert Gallo. Okay. Where cancer retrovirologist. Okay. All of this are African green monkey by. When we must say, okay, I say, African green monkey, no, 8. Anna, Haiti, a teacher food, I know Belgian Congo. One contact. And a teacher food, homosexuals, everyone will be contact. And they say, a bit easy. That's a sign of tear. And you know, Africa, the green monkey is new, the green monkey no is no down. Green monkey no is no cocaine. I can have a second. I said, as well to Africa. The first case now, a pure down, a pure America, 1980.
Okay.
Among homosexuals. Honor, I will raise the alarm. And it made a now, some of them may say to me, who did you say? What kind of green monkey story? And in the many scientists work or conference or any shower. I want to have a repeat. I story my mocano. No, they did Jaya Muyai. They never crack. If you say, if you know where you mean that, you say, a new pub that's a name and share that call lamp. And you could critique. Saya, we are not a friend. It's
okay.
And do the kind just. Yeah, all the numbers about the other kind just one.
Is natural or invention?
It's natural or invention.
10th January 1987. Daily Graphic. If you're Jassa, I'm a Muslim. So I feel if you're Jassa, Muslim, and not a crack. Of fact. So here you well, Paris. Scientists from several countries are charging the Pentagon with having created the AIDS virus in a laboratory, while the United States and 8 allies are blaming it on African monkeys brought to the West. The controversy is cause for deep concern due to the large number of persons currently afflicted with the disease and the enormous prospects of further contagion. Is it further? In spite of the scant possibilities of making his theories known in Western news media, controlled by transnationals, British physician John Seal is the first to claim that AIDS was created in the laboratory. According to Seal, yes, his research shows that this disease is the result of the fusion of two closely related animal viruses, bovine leukemia and viscera, a virus that can be isolated in lambs. This opinion is fully shared by well-known Californian AIDS specialist Robert Strecker, who declared that he is convinced that the disease stems from research on animal viruses conducted in a U.S. laboratory. Jacob Siegel, former director of the University of Berlin's Institute of Biology, went even further in his investigations and claims that AIDS was undoubtedly born in a secret Pentagon laboratory, which was shut down in the late 60s by then President Richard Nixon, who decided to call off the biological warfare experiment then underway. Coinciding with these charges, Dr. Alastair Hill of Bedford College discovered in the Pentagon files a 1969 document revealing a decision by the U.S. Defense Department to create a new infectious microorganism resistant to the immunological and therapeutic defenses of the human body. You are by 1969. Wow, you are a person between two. Okay. So, okay. I remember who said document, 1969. Because information here, HSA, all the criteria, lab here, Maryland, for Metrics. Okay.
Under the project name MK now, with funds from, I don't know about you in India, they are special code. MK Naomi, with funds from American governments. So, engineer, the Bible says, so we created microbe here. So we can see 2 animals, 2 different animals, or 100 creatures. That's right. Microbe is synthetic defense or biological agent. Only the best vaccine. Now, and attack in the autoimmune system. Yes. And the immune system made down there, that's why we're vulnerable. That was what they spent on money on. So big credit. Let's go and share say $10 million. So that I can wonderful. And me $10 million means capital. Obama that one. $10 million means capital. I was capital, but that time means capital. Make means capital. Must have been you try. Because you're already in the here. The cure and the prophylactic are suppressed. Prophylactic. The cure and the prophylactic are suppressed. Funding was obtained from the U.S. Congress under AIDS is man-made. AIDS is man-made by William Cooper. William Cooper. That's right. Okay. Yes, I shall say. Okay. The cure and the prophylactic are suppressed. Open so start free hand. Okay. The chief recommendation among the others. Among the first study. They break it down. All right. Okay. The first study was made in 1957 by scientists meeting in Huntsville, Alabama. The study resulted in alternative 3. Another study was made by the Club of Rome in 1960. Another study was made by the Club of Rome in 1968 to determine the limit to growth. The result of the study was that civilization, as we know, it would collapse shortly after the year 2000 unless the population was seriously curtailed. Several top secret recommendations were made to the ruling elite by Dr. Aurelio Percy of the Club of Rome. The chief recommendation was to develop a microbe which would attack the autoimmune system and thus render the development of a vaccine impossible. Wow. The others were given to develop the microbe and to also develop a cure and a prophylactic. The microbe would be used against the general population and would be introduced by vaccine administered by the World Health Organization. The prophylactic was to be used by the ruling elite. The cure will be administered to the survivors when they decide that enough people have died. The cure will be administered to the survivors when they decided that enough people have been died. It will be announced as newly developed. This plan was called Global 2000. The 2000 report to be a Jimmy Carter time, and I know any other report to Basel. By the year 2000, at least 2/3 of the world's population, I say it will be reduced drastically. To not achieve it. Okay. The cure and the prophylactic are suppressed. Funding was obtained from the U.S. Congress under HB 1590, HB 15090, where $10 million was given, where $10 million were given to the Department of Defense to produce a synthetic biological agent, an agent that does not naturally exist and for which no natural immunity could have been acquired. And now you create it, number, break it, the autoimmune system in human beings. Okay. Within the next 5 to 10 years, it will probably be possible to make a new infective microorganism which could differ in certain important aspects from any known disease-causing organisms. Most important of these is that it might be refractory to the immunological and therapeutic process upon which we depend to maintain our relative freedom from infectious disease. The project was carried out at Fort
District, Maryland. Since large populations were to be decimated, the ruling elite decided to target the undesirable element of society for extermination. Specifically, targeted were the black, Hispanic, and homosexual populations. The name of the project that developed is MK Naomi. Yes. The African continent was infected via smallpox vaccine in 1977. So that's also 40 years in me. And say the background is it here. $10 million voted by the US government so that this experiment to create a synthetic microbe. Nigerians are breaking the autoimmune system in human beings. Some have a very vulnerable. Maybe a baby are target the black Hispanic. To them, we are the minority. Yes. But they don't know say Europeans are the minority. Yes. Enti wena ebaso. Enti ebaso sawa. Enioma na ekoso nipa ebiebiem. How na in charge in 1980. And someone put in 1980 between 78 and 1981. And only say only about experimental hepatitis B vaccine there. Only person only try now this time no only they call white male homosexuals. Okay. Only test is happening. And by 1980 only breaking out the first case of AIDS in breaking out in America. And the about now going to say epidemic about sure America for us. Now if you newspaper anywhere about you know what we say America was hard hit. Look what this week I told them four cover stories and I say pictures somewhere this week a carry story. One, gay America, sex, politics, and the impact of AIDS. Anybody you know for Bako only you know for my Bobby, Bako Bobby, BBI, and Bako you BBI. Okay. No, we are partners. Gay. And gay for America only details, you know. And another one, we know rock, performing rock Hassim, also performing arts and also AIDS as a sounds like an issue in the face of AIDS. Basically, I'm going to and the musicians, entertainers, only the TCM. Basically, over gay, Eddie Urban. It's a Kabasano, Emma, and the vocals are gayism. And about the true muscle. This idea about the Lulu. But the story is, and you make a crap or no cafe if you are home, and I'm about the king. First one I'm cover story gay American sex. I'm can say Bobby Campbell, I mean a partner, Bobby Holland. The first openly gay people are more allowed now we do on the picture about two such an important news magazine. And now it's say I found and you didn't because you must have and also so there and also any day. And the second one you die, and also by November 24, 1986. We are 1983, 1986. And I will say so a buy. And I can say, it is going to affect American healthcare. Secure about the code, and as I say, only good because government policy, a whole say, and the map will be a different look towards sex. Okay. And if you have enough reasons about the face of AIDS, any part, whatever, majority of them are white. We don't have blacks here. But Marco, to say but basically, let you say, Abba,
in the midst of white America.
In the
face of AIDS, the photos of 24 Americans of diverse ages, races, ethnicities, gender identities, and socio-economic backgrounds. It's not you over for him. I make you say, but maybe I won't catch us for him. Until by the end of 1987, now America over AIDS equal no 41,000.
By the year of
1987,
that's a
end of years, died of age-related diseases. Yeah, America. And you and the cover say graphic. Can story with no whole reaction in Ghana. Graphic edited graphic of 11th March 1987. AIDS kills 12 U.S. Catholic priests. Can
you didn't say about the movie? Okay, graphic 11th March 1987. I was on the scene of 30 years.
That's right.
Wonderful. As it is cause 12 U.S. Catholic priests. 12 Catholic priests in Massachusetts, in the United States of America, have died of the deadly disease, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, that is AIDS, and dozen more are known to have contracted the disease. This is the result of the high rate of homosexuality among Catholic priests. Can you? 12 Catholic priests in Massachusetts, in the United States of America, have died of the deadly disease, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, that is AIDS, and dozen more are known to have contracted the disease. This is the result of the high rate of homosexuality among Catholic priests. It is estimated that 5,700 priests, representing 10% of the 57,000 Catholic priests in the United States, are homosexuals. But one researcher, after conducting 1,500 interviews, put the figure at 20% and says half of them are sexually active. I don't want to miss Parliament true. Don't trust over. Well, okay. It is somewhere period. Hey, and Ghana, Catholic Church or Ghana, also a multiple apply. I want to do that. And the other guy reacted to the story, the entire graphic, and so this story reader, it creating impression, said, Roman Catholic for form. Every response mostly, okay. 27th March 1987. Graphic. By 11th March. I mean by 27th. And some of them, yes. And by because that's roughly 2 headline. Yes. Now 12 U.S. Catholic priests. Hey, you go behind say I say I said for so it am kind of for me say na obo ni year bi we ma say for me or me celebrate and they are done and we do me ako omo kwa and Catholic Church of Ghana we no tikwa apply say graphic verse na the buy and let into omo reaction can be there. I say Catholics in Ghana react to his story. The Catholic Church in Ghana has reacted sharply to exposures of homosexuality and AIDS among Catholic priests in the United States, saying there are homosexuals and AIDS victims in other churches as well. Because a young choir, young choir, I mean, you as a welcome. I don't know from here from Cassie, you don't know. In Uganda, to the Sunday Times of London, copied to the People's Daily Graphic over a Sunday Times story called by this paper, graphic story,
Yes. London Times.
On March 11th, so we make reference. The Catholic Secretariat of Ghana attached copies of Mazi report, which give statistics of homosexuals in the Catholic as well as other churches. The Uganda said in part, the impression gathered by many Catholic is that you were just out to tarnish the image of the Catholic Church. Otherwise, you could have given an elaborate report as given by Newsweek if you were interested in victims of AIDS among the clergy. That's I don't do all. So I say come why there no say 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 we go so for ni was there and ka say the Newsweek paper no here no. Come so no be na ka other churches say there ka no for make ho. Is it only Catholic priests in the United States who are dying of AIDS? The Newsweek's article gives statistics of victims of AIDS in other churches. AIDS cannot be a Catholic disease, the Uganda added. In a covering letter to the Graphic, the Catholic Secretariat said the pictures of Recare and Bernard Grizel carried with the story created the impression that the two pastors were Catholic priests. However, the graphic story with the headline AIDS kills 12 U.S. Catholic priests did not mention that the two pastors were Catholic priests. The Secretariat did not refuse the facts of the story, but in a rather amazing way expressed surprise that the Graphic cut the story at what they called a time of reconciliation and used it on its front page. But the story was so placed in good faith in the face of the possible spread of AIDS through gay Catholic priests on transfers. They also claimed that the story had no bearing on the people of Ghana, but said in the Uganda that it had caused concern among Catholics in Ghana. Okay, I say, a Catholic from the Newsweek International of February 23, 1987, which was attached to the Uganda, gave detailed statistics of homosexuality among the clergy, not only in the Catholic Church, but in the Anglican, in the Episcopal, in the Anglican, Episcopal and other churches as well. As well, there were also instances of lesbianism among Catholic nuns. It put the latest figure of gay Catholic priests at about 40% and the Episcopal 50%, but the report said the question of homosexuality is particularly sensitive for the Catholic Church because its priests are expected to be both chaste and celibates. The report added that some gay Catholic priests justify their activities by redefining the vows they took. They choose to stay celibate but not chaste. To me, chastity means no sex at all, and celibacy means not getting married. A Catholic priest was alluded as saying.
Was alluded as saying. Say, no. Wow. You are question. I copy. I make a phone name. I'm a graphic savvy, but you say, over by the year 1991, U.S. may suffer 500,000 AIDS deaths. I make sure say a hope and not air not a jam. And the about someone. And the person will say, hey, I'm going to say, I and you media phone, what is for starting say, I love you. And the book we, about the capture with them. Book we.
So I am a person who looks on CBS Masada exposes how the media distort the news. Munkodam Kopeno Binto.
Book room, I say, AIDS lobbies, only that be media for, say, change this story from say, I gay plague, day from Kwana, the only I say to me, presentation, be a double bar, it is a no Kwana, or Mania, Naoma Council, Elabi. And you have looked at 76, my market, a hand in baby. Okay. Overtime, nothing, you say you sit here.
It was a nightmare scenario, and it was exactly the story that Aids activities desperately wanted to put out. The goal was simple: scare the hell out of straight of America.
Straight America, so the only day for only street heterosexuals. Scare
then they would have to pay attention. Otherwise, the activities feared there would never be a national outcry over AIDS. Middle America would never. Like I say, I'm going to be
silent. I'm going to backfire.
Middle America would never get worked up enough, and neither would Congress or the president to spend whatever it took to combat this modern day plague. As long as the people dying were mostly gay men and donkeys, the AIDS lobby had a problem. The activists knew instinctively that Main Street America did not see these people as sympathetic characters. Donkeys died every day from overdoses and who knows what. So what if there was now a virus that was also killing them?
Well, a man says, they plague Montino. Main Street America does that. Oh, most of our modern panel over home. Most of our movies say, nothing a chess in here. Where they from home. And you don't move on. No, that's a sad story.
The activities knew that America would never lose sleep over drug addicts dying from something called HIV. And homosexuals, the gay lobby was convinced that straight Americans didn't care what happened to them either. But if the activists somehow could persuade America that gays and donkeys were only the first wave, that homosexuals were next, then the nation surely would demand that the government put all its effort into finding a cure or a vaccine, anything to combat this deadly disease.
Okay, page 89. Bit, I'm our story. Page 89. That's why I'm marking Hawker.
The killer next door.
The killer next door. I don't know the hour. Only I say, and there's a sign that said, yeah, you're very advert. You're the two of us. We are also be no. Now, next door, hold on.
Okay. Also, the killer next door is what the primetime CBS news program 48 Hours called its show about AIDS in the suburbs. Great title, especially if you are trying to scare the hell out of your audience and get good ratings at the same time. The killer next door was shot in 1992, mostly in Orange County, California, home of John Wayne Airport, and for a long time the very symbol of conservative, middle-class, white suburban America. That, of course, was the point that AIDS was now everyone's disease, that it was no longer just the disease of gay men in places like Greenwich Village and the Castro section of San Francisco are mostly black and Hispanic junkies in Harlem and Watts. AIDS was now the killer next door.
Page 94.
And your clone mine. Page 94. I told Hayward that given the overwhelming slant to the program, I wanted to do a story for the show that explored the other side, the side that questioned whether AIDS really was the killer next door.
Sir, and you really the pandemonium the abba. I'm a AIDS killer no or next door there. And you say who is and the most of them not convinced because how.
I told him I wanted to interview several people, including Randy Schultz, the best informed journalist on AIDS in all of America. He said, okay, so I flew off to San Francisco to meet Schultz, who had written the brilliant book and the band played on a devastating history of neglect on the part of our government and the medical establishment in the early years of the AIDS epidemic.
Randy Schultz was gay himself. Schultz and I spoke in a beautiful park overlooking San Francisco. People were throwing Febreze and sunbathing, and we were talking about the virus that was ravaging his city and how the media were handling it. Why did so many reporters run with the heterosexual AIDS story? I asked him. This was a new angle of the story, he said, and we need something that brings the story home to most of our readers. Most of our readers or viewers are going to be heterosexuals. I think that there were some crisis considerations. If you want to sell newspapers or get people to watch your show, you want to say, this is a threat to you too. Schultz knew the real story and he wasn't afraid to tell it. We walked through gay neighborhoods in San Francisco and he pointed to houses where friends had lived and died. He cared deeply about all of them, but he didn't let his compassion stand in the way of his journalism. When Schultz knew that AIDS was not really the killer next door. Not the way we were playing it anyway. It was the killer next door in his neighborhood, but not in all of our neighborhoods. 96. History. Randy Schultz died 1 year and 10 months after I interviewed him on that Craig's beautiful day in San Francisco. He died of AIDS just like so many of his friends before him. Randy didn't tell any of us that he had the disease when we spoke. Yet he was brave enough to tell the truth. He was courageous enough to say that despite what the media were telling America, AIDS was not the killer next door, not the way we were suggesting anyway. If Randy could be that honest, why can't the rest of us? So help me God. Into the story, into a bus here. After within 10 years after a breaking out in America, no, therefore the whole world by around and say, after the AIDS, infection has shifted from America, no homosexuals, and after the across ocean, and I'll Africa. Okay. After the peg in Africa. Now, this I say, and then, and I program in America. White male homosexuals. Any more are suffer, any more crack. Now, for within 10 years, I don't know shifted about Africa. About Africa, so I say, about Africa, so I say, and how they be free. Story in 50 years, I say, how they be free, so there will no delay. But the answer 1977, and the WHO, almost a smallpox vaccine. Some vaccine, almost with AIDS virus. And I'm sure they have tested on volunteers in Africa, Eastern Africa. Which I have no more on the test here, and maybe AIDS, about Africa. Africa, a bit peg anymore. Now, newspaper a breaking sad story, from the London Times, May 11, 1987. Okay. Only breaking story. Got 30 years and smallpox vaccine triggered AIDS virus. Yeah, I can't even go. I mean, you can hear about what don't hear the bumper. I say them. I say the AIDS epidemic may have been triggered by the mass vaccination campaign, which eradicated smallpox. Yes, and the World Health Organization, which masterminded the 13-year campaign. Is it in study or study? Is it is or campaign? Okay, studying and okay, studying means scientific evidence suggesting that immunization with a smallpox
vaccinia awakened the unsuspected dominant human immune defense virus infection. That's HIV.